My screen is on.
Okay, guys, morning. You guys, we're going to continue to work on subtraction. We're going to work on borrowing, and I just want to show you something a little bit different. I think we might have done this before, but I want you to think the first problem we're going to have is 508 minus 219. And really what I want to look at, just so you get an idea of borrowing, is we're going to look at place value. So, this column right here is the ones. The next one would be the tens. And the third one would be the hundreds. So really, if we break these numbers down, 508, we're going to have 5 100s. We're going to have 0 tens. And we're going to have 8 ones. And down below, we'd have 200s. We'd have 110. And we'd have 9 ones. So it'd be 508 because we have 5 times the hundreds, 100, 0 times 10, and 8 times 1. And this you're going to have, you're going to have 200 plus 10 plus 9, so 219. Okay, so when we're borrowing, we're always borrowing from the column to the left. So if this first one was 508 minus 219, so right here we see 8 minus 9. So we know the top number is smaller than the bottom number, so we're going to have to borrow. And really what we're doing in this one, we're borrowing from the hundreds. So this is going to be a 4, and we're borrowing 10 hundreds. Or excuse me, 10 tens, which is 100. So now this becomes a 10, and then we have to borrow 10 ones. So that now becomes a 9. This becomes 18. So 18 minus 9 is 9. And 9 minus 1 is 8. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. So it's going to be 289. But what I want you to think about is, so we borrowed 100, just 100 from the 100 spot. And 100 is 10 tens. So we're actually just moving 10 tens over. Okay. And then we're moving 1 10 over, which is a 10, which is going to give us the 18. Okay. So let's try to look at another one here. We have 702 minus 149. And if we break this down again, it's going to be 7 100s, 0 10s, and 2 1s. And down below, we're going to have 100. We're going to have 4 10s. And we're going to have 9 1s. Okay, so same thing. This is similar. When you have a 0 right in the middle, we're borrowing from the hundreds place. And we're borrowing 10 of them. Or borrowing 1 of them, 10 tens. I keep saying that. You're borrowing 10 tens, which is 100. Okay, we're just converting that 100 into 10 tens. Okay, so now we can do this. So we have to borrow 10. That's going to make that 12. So the 12 minus the 9 is going to be the 3. 9 minus the 4 is going to be 5. And this is now a 6. And 6 minus 1 is going to be 5. So that's 553. Okay, let's do one more here. So let's do 403 minus 105. Okay, so once again, we have 0 in the middle. So we break this down. It's 4 100s, 0 10s, and 3 1s. In the bottom, it's 1 100, 0 10s, and 5 1s. Okay, so we're going to borrow 10 10s from 100. That becomes a 3. This becomes a 10. Okay, and now we're going to need to borrow 10 from that, so that's 13. So 13 minus 5 is going to be 8. We borrowed 1 from that 10, so that's going to be 9. And 3 minus the 1 is going to be the 2. So 290. Okay. So we're going to move on to a little bit bigger number, but everything's exactly the same, you guys. So we're going to do 6, 8, 8, 9 minus 5, 3, 8, 5. It's going to be 5. And this one, we're going to look, and the top numbers are all bigger, so we're not going to have to borrow. So it's just a straight subtraction. The 9 minus the 5 is going to be a 4. 8 minus 8 is 0. 8 minus 5 is 3. And 6 minus 5 is 1. Okay. Let's do one where we have to borrow here. Okay. And we're going to have to borrow twice here. This is 7 0 2 0 2 1 7 9. Okay. So we're going to borrow, that's going to be a 1. We're going to borrow a 10. So that's 10 minus 9 is going to be 1. Now we have 1 minus 7. Okay, so we're going to have to borrow, we're going to have to move this. That's going to become a 10. And we're borrowing from that. So that's going to be a 9. So that's 11 minus 7 is 4. The 9 minus 1 is 8. And that's 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay, so let's look at this one a little bit. So we have 7. This is 1,000. We have 7 1,000. We have 0 hundreds. We have 2 10s. And then there's going to be 0 1s. Okay, so we borrowed right here, we borrowed 10 hundreds, which equals 1,000. That's why that's a 10. Okay. And then what we did is we basically borrowed, whenever you borrow, you're actually borrowing. So in this case, when we borrowed from the 1,000, we borrowed 10 hundreds. Then we borrow into the tens column, we're borrowing 10 tens, which equals 100. Okay, so you're always borrowing over to the right, and we're always borrowing in tens. So whether it's 10 ones, 10 tens, in this case, we borrowed 10 hundreds to make 1,000. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We're just moving, like if it's dollars, we would borrow $100 bills, which equals 1,000. Or we'd borrow 10 $10 bills, which equal 100. Or we borrow 10 $1 bills, which would be a 10. It's kind of the same thing, same concept. 10, dollar bills is the same as a $10 bill. 10 $10 bills is the same as 100. And also 10 $100 bills would be the same as a $1,000 bill. So we're just kind of moving everything over. Let's do one more here. We will do 8076 minus 2618. Okay. So we see that the 6 is smaller than the 8. So we're going to have to borrow right here. That becomes a 6. That becomes a 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. The 6 minus 1 is 5. So then we see we have a 0 here, and that's in hundreds. So we're going to borrow 10 hundreds, which is 1,000 from that. That becomes a 10 now. 10 minus 6 is 4. And 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay. So if you think of borrowing in terms of money, sometimes that makes that a little bit easier for you because you're just moving like the $10 bill and you're breaking it down into ones in that far right column, or you're borrowing from the $110 bills, or you're borrowing from the $1,000 and $100 bills. Okay, so that's it. I will go ahead and post some more practice. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
You didn't say you is good.